Hello and welcome, guys. I hope all of you are doing good. This is your class number 5 of the ongoing questions marathon, which is also a Prelims 2025 crash course. I hope all of you have been enjoying these classes. We have had 4 classes so far. This is the 5th and the last class for YouTube. The remaining classes until class number 40 will be in the form of a course on my own Android app called Harshmeet Study Circle. A lot of you have already enrolled for the course, so thank you so much. I'm looking forward to have all of you on board. If you register for that course by 6th of February, the fees is 1,999. After that, the fees will be 2,499, and it's a recorded course, so you'll be having access to those classes till your prelims examination is over. As you know, in every single of these classes, we have been discussing 25 questions. And today we will be beginning with economics. In all these ongoing classes that we'll have on my app from the next class onwards, we'll be aiming to discuss over 1000 questions. I'll be happy to give you PDF so that you can also revise at a later stage. Let's begin with the classes then. The first question for economics is this. The question is based on fiscal deficit. First, consider the following statements regarding fiscal deficit. Number 1, fiscal deficit represents the total borrowing requirements of the government. Second, a high fiscal deficit always indicates poor economic management. And third, monetizing fiscal deficit can lead to inflationary pressures. Now, what exactly do you mean by this? A country like India that has more expenses than its earning will have to take some loans from outside in order to fund our own requirement. That means we are in a fiscal deficit. When you borrow more or when you have to borrow because you're not earning as much as you're spending, that's a situation of fiscal deficit. First, yes, it represents total borrowing of the government. Is it always a case of poor economic management? Not always. So, for example, the government may say that we want to spend heavily on investment or we want to spend heavily on, let's say, infrastructure building. Then it's not a bad thing because in the long run, it will bring in more money. So fiscal deficit is not always because of poor economic management. It can be a planned thing as well going forward. Third is correct. When you monetize fiscal deficit, that means when you spend it, it will lead to inflationary pressures as well, meaning that the price will increase in the market. The answer thus is 1 and 3, that is B. 2 of these statements are correct. I hope you got this one right. Not a very difficult question. Question 2 on monetary policy. Which of the following tools are used by RBI to control inflation? Now, as you know, RBI has the primary responsibility to control inflation in the country. There is a target that they have, 2 to 6, that is 4% plus minus 2%. That is the target that they have. So, how do they control it? By using cash reserve ratio? Yes, they do. That is how they decide how much cash has to be kept with the banks. Open market operations, yes. Open market operation means buying and selling of government securities. Deciding repo rate and deciding SLR, yes. All these things are instruments in the hands of the RBI to ensure that inflation remains in control. So if they think that there's too much money in the market, meaning that there's too much demand and because of which prices are increasing, they will try to reduce the money supply in the market. How? They will make it lucrative for you to deposit money in the bank, or they will make it harder for you to get a loan from the bank. That is how they try and bring more money into the banks out of the market. The answer thus is D. 1, 2, 3, 4, all these 4 are absolutely correct. Next, question number 3 about inflation. Consider the following statements about inflation. Number 1, cost push inflation is caused by increased production cost. Now, I hope all of you know inflation basically means increase in prices. It is because of a lot of factors. 1, cost push, yes, it is something that increases production cost. When the cost of the components increase, it will obviously lead to increase in prices. Demand pull inflation, when the demand increases, supply is constant, it again leads to price rise, that is inflation. Stagflation refers to high inflation along with high unemployment, which is a very bad situation for an economy, which is also true. All these 3 are correct. The answer here is D. Stagflation is a very bad phase for any economy. It doesn't mean just inflation, it also means inflation along with high unemployment in the society. So people are not earning money and the price is increasing even more. The answer thus here is D. Next, question number 4. Which of the following are included in the GNP, gross national product? Income earned by Indian residents working abroad? Yes. Income generated by foreign companies operating in India? No. So GNP basically is Indians or income of all the Indians, irrespective of wherever they are living. So if an Indian is living in America, his or her income would also be added in our GNP. Foreign companies, their income is not added in the GNP. Income generated by Indians within the country, yes, it is added in both GNP and GDP. So GDP is more about territory of India. Within the territory of India, what is the economic activity? GNP is about Indians wherever they are living. The answer thus is 1 and 3. That means A is correct. The second statement here is wrong. Next question, number 5, about types of taxes. Consider the following statement. Number 1, income tax is an example of a direct tax. So direct tax is the one that you pay directly to the government. Yes. GST is a regressive tax. No. So regressive tax basically means that the more you earn, the more taxes you pay. This is how income tax was, but not GST. For example, if there's a 100 rupee biscuit, doesn't matter who is buying that biscuit. Mr. Ambani may buy that biscuit, or a common man or a common laborer can buy that biscuit, but they will pay the same GST. So that is not regressive. Regressive means it changes depending on how much you're earning. They take more tax from the rich, lesser from the poor. That is not how GST works. Corporate tax is levied on the profit of the companies, which is true. That is how corporate tax works. Whatever you're earning, the profit, a share is taken by the government. The answer thus is 1 and 3. C is correct here. The second statement here is wrong. Answer is C. Next question, number 6, about balance of payment, that is BOP. Which of the following transactions are included in the current account of India's balance of payment, that is the BOP. So as you know, the BOP, balance of payment, has multiple components. Two components basically, current account and capital account. So this is asking you which of these is a part of India's current account. 1. Export of goods and services. Yes, whatever money comes in, it's a part of our current account. Second, income from investments abroad. Yes. Loans received. No. So loans that are received by the government under financial institutions is a part of our capital account. Remittances sent by Indians. Yes, that is also a part of the current account. So the answer here is 1, 2 and 4. The answer here is A. Just to show you the comparison for you so that it is easier for you to remember. So balance of payment basically is divided into two accounts, current and capital. Current account is made up of invisibles, that means services, income from investment, etc., profit, interest that the government is earning, and merchandise export. Capital account means the money coming in the form of loans, foreign investment, banking capital, etc. So this is how it is different. That is how the answer has to be understood. Next question, 7, about employment types. Match the following types of unemployment with their characteristics. Number 1, frictional unemployment. Now, frictional unemployment means it is because of job transition. So you are basically transitioning from one job to the other. In the middle, you might have some months gap because you're upskilling yourself. That means it's a temporary unemployment. So this is correct. So 1 will be C. Second, structural unemployment. Structural unemployment means mismatch of skills with the job requirement. So basically, the skills that you have, you are not suitable for this job. That is why you will see a lot of news reports saying that many or most of Indian graduates are not eligible for job because the skills taught to them in the college are not good enough. So that is structural unemployment. So 2 will be B. And then remaining 3 is A. Cyclical unemployment is job loss due to economic downturn. So because the entire economy is downturning, the economy is declining, that is why you have lost your job. It's not your fault. That is how cyclical unemployment works. So the answer here has to be A. That is how you correctly match it up. It's an important topic, types of unemployment. Do read about this in detail. Next question, 8, about demographic dividend. First, it refers to economic growth potential resulting from changes in the age structure of the population. Yes. So demographic dividend is a situation where a country has majority of its people in the working population. So they are contributing to the economic growth of the country. Second, it is a period which is permanent for a country once achieved. No. So lot of developed countries, let's say Japan, Italy, are now on the other side of the demographic dividend. In those countries now, most of the population is in the non-working age, pensioners or children. So there's a lot of pressure on these countries to drive their economic growth forward. So they are looking to import talent from other countries. China also is reaching that stage now. So it's not a permanent situation. High dependency ratios limit the realization of democratic different benefits. Yes. So when you have a lot of people who are dependent on social security like pensions, free insurance, etc., that obviously puts a hindrance on the benefits that the country can achieve. The answer thus is B. 1 and 3 here are correct. The second is wrong because it's not a permanent situation. That is why a country has to take as much advantage of this situation as possible, which is what India also must do. Next, question 9 on public debt. Which of the following are valid concerns associated with high public debt to GDP ratio? Reduce fiscal space for public investment. Yes, because you have so much debt, you have to pay it back. There are high interest payments. So government is not left with any money to make investments. Look at what is happening in Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, etc. Most of our Indian states are about to go bankrupt because of this. High interest payment leading to crowding out of private investment. Yes. Increased inflation due to reliance on printing money. Yes, because you have to pay a lot of money back. You start printing the money, which is again bad, leads to inflation. Currency will depreciate because of external debt. Yes, all these are true. All these are the problems which are a result of high public debt to GDP ratio. The answer thus is D. All four other problems that we see. Next, question number 10 about elasticity of demand. Consider the following scenarios and identify the correct type of price elasticity. First, salt consumption remains unchanged despite price changes. Yes. See, there are certain essential commodities whose consumption behavior will not change if the price increases or decreases mostly. Now, if the salt price increases by 10 times, it will obviously make a difference, but mostly it will not. So it is inelastic. The first one. So either A, B or D are the answers. Second, luxury goods like designer watches experience a sharp decline in demand with price increase. So if there are certain things which are not essential, when their price increase, all of a sudden you will see demand drastically reducing. Means it is highly elastic. So B so far seems to be correct. Third, a small price reduction for toothpaste causes only a slight increase in demand. Yes, so toothpaste is something which you only use in fixed quantity. Even if the price decreases, you might buy it more for the future to keep in stock, but it will not increase drastically. So it will just lead to a slight increase in demand even if the price decreases. So that is relatively inelastic, because again, it will not really, just because the toothpaste is now cheaper by 30%, you will not try to wash or you will not brush your teeth 3 times a day or 4 times a day. If you do it once, you'll keep on doing it once. If you do it twice, you keep on doing it twice only. You might buy 2 or 3 toothpaste instead of 1 for future stock keeping, but nothing more than that. So it's relatively inelastic. The answer thus is B. It's a pretty interesting concept, but you must understand all these things in order to get these answers right. Next, question 11 about multidimensional poverty index. Which of the following dimensions and indicators are a part of MPI? Health, yes. Education, yes. Living standards, yes. So multidimensional poverty index, MPI, considers not just your earning but also your education, standard of living, education, and there are subparts to all of this. Answer here is D. It's not a difficult question to answer about MPI. Just for your reference, I've given a photo also here. So MPI basically consists of health, education and standard of living. Health then consists of nutrition, child mortality. Education consists of years of schooling, school attendance, intensity of poverty, head count ratio. And then standard of living also has all these components. All these together make up what you call as multidimensional poverty index. Next, question 12 about capital rates. Which of the following factors affect exchange rates of any currency? First, interest rate differential, yes. Means if there are different types of interest rates offered in different countries, your money can go up and down. For example, you will see when the FedEx or the Federal Reserves in the US, they announce any of their policy changes, especially the change in the interest rate, you will see dollar either coming into India or going out of India, which leads to our dollar price as compared to rupee price changing. Current account deficit, yes. Foreign direct investment inflow, yes. Central bank intervention, yes. All of these can affect exchange rates as it is happening in India right now with rupee going on a downward trend against the dollar. The answer here is D. I have given you all these scenarios and what happens to the currency usually. Next, question number 13 about inclusive growth. Which of the following measures promote inclusive growth in India? Jan Dhan Yojana, yes. Manrega, yes. See, inclusive growth means when you are affecting positively even the most basic section of the society. Skill India Mission, yes. Corporate tax cut for large enterprise, not always. See, corporate tax cut means the government will tell the large companies, okay, we are not taking some taxes from you. Now, if they pass it on to their workers, it is fine, but it's not always the case. They might just keep the money with themselves. The government might expect them to invest, but they may not. So this impacts the large enterprises only, not the common people. So this is not inclusive governance or inclusive growth. The answer thus is A, 1, 2 and 3. Large corporate tax agency may or may not. When the government tells, let's say Reliance, that we will take only half of the taxes from you, the expectation from the government is that because we are taking lesser taxes, remaining money you will use for expansion, build more factories, give more jobs to people. But the government can't force them to do that, right? They may just choose to keep the money with them or spend it in their son's wedding. So it's not always essential that it will lead to inclusive growth. Next, question 14 about primary, secondary and tertiary sectors. Match the following economic activities with their sectors. Mining is what? It's a primary sector thing. First A. Construction is what? Construction is secondary sector because construction is you are using raw materials and to build something. Then banking means tertiary sector because then you are providing some services. C. Agriculture, again you go back to primary sector. 4A. So whatever matches this sequence, 1A, 2B, I think this is A. This is how the correct answer would be. 1A, 2B, 3C and 4A. Next, question 15 about twin deficits. So a few years back, our economic survey taught a lot about the twin deficit problem that we are facing. So which of these two actually refer to twin deficit problem? First, fiscal deficit, yes. Current account deficit, yes. These are the two that the economic survey talked about as India having a twin deficit problem. That is 1 and 2. High fiscal deficit plus high current account deficit is a very bad situation for economic growth of any country. These two together are called the twin deficits. Next, question number 16 about globalization. What are the possible results of globalization on Indian economy? First, increase FDI, yes. When you have brands of international stature coming into India, they will bring in more money, more investment. Greater income equality across regions, not always. Rather, see, if let's say foreign brand is coming in, they're investing only in Maharashtra, for example, and not in Bihar or Jharkhand, it will not be an enhanced, equitable economic distribution. Expanded access to global market, yes. You, for example, as a consumer, you will be able to buy stuff from branded companies. Exposure to global financial crisis, yes. The reason why a financial crisis in America will harm almost the entire world is because the entire world is connected due to globalization. The answer thus becomes B. 1, 3 and 4 here are correct. Next, question number 17 about monetary aggregates. Add the following monetary aggregates with their components. A pretty easy, simple thing to do if you have read this basics. First, M1 means currency that we have printed, plus demand deposit means that you can withdraw from the bank on demand, the amount in your the money that you have in the savings account, for example, and other deposit. This is right. 1A is correct. M2 means M1 plus saving deposit with the post offices. This is also correct. M3 means again M1. So M1 basically means narrow money. M3 means M1 plus time deposit with bank. So time deposit means the money that will be given back to you after some time. FD, etc. 3C correct again. M4 is M3 plus the time deposit with the total deposit with the post office. That is also correct. All these are correctly matched up. This is how you have to remember this. This is important. This has been asked by UPSC multiple times earlier as well. These are all correctly matched up. Next, question 18. Poverty line estimates. Which of the following committees in India have been associated with the estimation of poverty in India? Tendulkar Committee, yes. Rangarajan Committee, yes. Gadgil, no. Gadgil Committee is more famous for cooperative society. So they had to give recommendation on how to improve the situation of cooperative societies. Alag committee, yes. So all these have given their own recommendation about what the poverty line should be. That is why in India the problem is we don't have one fixed poverty line. There's a World Bank estimate also, then there are multiple lines in India also. That's why there's still a lot of confusion. That's why you will see government trying to take the report of that committee, which shows them in the best light. And then there are multiple reports coming in from different sources. The answer thus here is B. Next is question 19. Capital account convertibility. First, it allows unrestricted movement of capital across borders for investment and loans. Yes, that is what is meant by capital account convertibility. India has fully implemented it? No. India allows partial capital account convertibility. So if a company has invested in India, we don't allow them to overnight withdraw all the money because it will lead to a lot of disbalance and disruption on market. So we don't allow complete capital account convertibility. There are certain restrictions. Increased capital account convertibility can make an economy vulnerable to external shocks. Yes, that is true. That is what has happened with South Asian markets in the 1990s. The Asian tigers, the economy of Bangkok, Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia collapsed because they had been offering full capital account convertibility. So when you have complete capital account convertibility, it's an attractive market because the investor knows that I can withdraw money at any time, but it's not that good for the nation. The answer thus is B. 1 and 3 here are correct. Next, question 20 about inflation targeting. First, RBI sets inflation target in consultation with the government. Yes. So it is, as I told you earlier, 4% plus minus 2%. Consumer Price Index or CPI is used as a reference for inflation targeting. Yes, so we use CPI mainly for that. Current inflation target 2 to 6%, as I told you earlier. Yes, all these are correct about how inflation targeting works in India. So RBI is responsible for that, because of which they decide a lot of parameters. They take up open market operations and CRR, SLR, etc. decided by them. Next, 21. GST compensation mechanism. So when GST was implemented, many states were not happy. Those were manufacturing states. They said that whatever investment we have made in manufacturing, we won't have any benefits out of it, because GST is a consumption based tax. Wherever consumption is happening, let's say factory in Gujarat is producing something and a person sitting in Mumbai is ordering it. So because the order comes from Mumbai, Maharashtra government will get the tax and not the Gujarat government. Earlier, Gujarat government, as per the excise tax, because manufacturing was happening in Gujarat, they used to get the tax. So government told the state that don't worry, whatever loss that you have because of GST for the first 5 years, we'll compensate you for that. That is called GST compensation. So that's the background of the question. GST compensation cess is levied on luxury and sin goods. That is correct. Second, compensation is provided to states for any shortfall in GST revenue from 5 years. Yes, as I just told you. Compensation fund is managed by Finance Commission. No. So nothing is managed by Finance Commission as such, because it's not a permanent body. It is managed by the GST Council. The answer here is A. 1 and 2 here are correct. Question 22. What are the advantages of revising a base year for national accounts in India? 1. Capturing structural changes in the economy. Yes, that's why you change your base year. It can't be very old. Updating weights to reflect current economic activity. Yes. Improving international comparability. Yes, so that you can compare with other countries. Reducing the impact of inflation on GDP figure. Not really. The impact of GDP does not really have a connection with the base year as such. It might be done by the government artificially, but it is not always the case. The answer here is A. Again, I'm not saying that the fourth will never happen. It may happen if it is done specifically keeping this in mind, but it's not always the case. The answer thus is A. Question 23. Types of deflation. First, supply side deflation means it is caused by increased production leading to falling prices. Yes. So again, deflation is opposite of inflation. It is falling prices. When you increase a production so much, you go to roadside, there will be some farmers who have filled trucks and tractors of onion, and they're selling it for a low price because they might have a lot more production than they can handle. So they start selling at a lower price, causing deflation. Demand side deflation means it results from reduced customer and business spending. Yes, because the demand is lesser, automatically the price will start to decrease. Stagflation induced inflation or deflation. it simultaneous occurrence of deflation and high unemployment? No. As I told you earlier, stagflation means high inflation and unemployment, not deflation. So that is not the definition of stagflation. The answer thus is A. 1 and 2 are correct. The third statement here is wrong. Next question 24 about financial inclusion. Which of the following initiatives aim to promote financial inclusion in India? Business correspondent model, yes. So an individual will go house to house in rural areas, especially to provide them banking facilities. Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana, yes, to give loans to small entrepreneurs. Bharat bill payment system, yes, you can give your bills online for utility services, electricity, water payment, etc. Digital payment infrastructure, public infrastructure like UPI, Aadhaar, yes. All these are intended to promote financial inclusion in India. Again, these are the aims of it. Might or might not be successful, that's your call, but these are the aims of all these programs. The answer thus is D. 1, 2, 3, 4 here are correct. Last question for this session about external commercial borrowings. First, these refer to borrowings raised by Indian entities from foreign sources, yes. Regulated by the RBI, yes. Used for speculative investment, not always. They are used for infrastructure building, they are used for good purposes. They are not used for investment in the financial market. They are not there to derive or to increase or decrease the level of the market. The answer thus is A. 1 and 2 here are correct. Which brings us to the end of this session. This was class number 5, the last class of this entire course on YouTube. For the remaining ones, please do join my course on my app. You can download my app, Harshmeet Study Circle. It's an Android app from the link given in the description of the video. The course there starts on the 6th of February and we will have about 40 classes. There will be a class uploaded every alternate day and you will get the PDF of all those classes as well. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those about the course and otherwise about the preparation as well. I've given my WhatsApp number and email ID in the description of the video. Do watch for other videos also on this session coming up in the next few days. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Jai Hind.